Who am I playing? Hello, hello. When you say goodbye, I say hello. The Beatles. That is my intro for tonight, and you're going to find out why. I have been waiting for this moment. I'm interviewing the author of this phenomenal book. You can kind of tell that I like it. Hello, goodbye. And I am going to interview him at 6:30. So I have 10 minutes to tell you why I love him. And so I got to pay attention. So, when my father died 2 years ago, I very much wanted to start reading and learning more about grieving and the whole process of that, because it was a very hard loss for me. And Elena Brower, one of my favorite people and teachers, Rita Bella, my fan, Elena Brower recommended this wonderful book, Hello, Goodbye. And the title of the book is 75 Rituals for Times of Loss, Celebration, and Change. Well, I'm like, I can relate to that, and I've gone through that. So what could I learn? And what do I know about a ritual? I don't know. So I never really thought of rituals, even though I'm sure I do them all the time. Thank you, darling. But the reason for this book that has 75, this book holds your hand through 75 rituals for a variety of changes in all our lives. We all have changes. From the birth of a child, to moving into a new home, to divorce, empty nesting, birthdays, retirement, death anniversary, receiving a diagnosis, hello, coming out, not me, but I love my friends that come out, and there's so much to learn in this, right? So, just a little, I have to read now. I could read page 409. I'm still new at this, kids. Give me a little break. All right, one of the page 409. Every hello is a goodbye, and every goodbye a hello. Birth and death, departures and arrivals, endings and beginnings, that cannot be one without the other. We wave our hands to welcome and wave them the exact same way to bid farewell, even though at times we may believe that life only moves in one direction. If we can step back and broaden our gaze, we can see that these hello, goodbye moments hinge on a door that swings back and forth. This has been a book about rituals. Rituals placed right at the door's threshold, and their purpose is to help us acknowledge that something has happened. Something has changed. We are no longer the person we were. Ain't that true? We no longer have the relationship that we did. We no longer call this place home. Our child is not the same. Our body is not the same. This time is not the same. Rituals mark the distinctions, helping us recognize what was and what is, so that we can wonder how it came to be. Hold on. How it came to be. Come back, Diana. So, okay. How did my child become a teenager? How did I just survive cancer? How did I get to be 50 years old? Yeah, I'd like that ritual. To wonder, this takes real courage and a deeper vulnerability, because to see change is to be change. All right, my final 10 minutes. So, Day Schildkret, I know I botched the last name, but Day I got right. Schildkret, I apologize, I practiced it all day. Before he became an author of this book, which he wrote during the COVID, I don't know how many people wrote a book during COVID, but he did, there was a thing called morning altars. That was an international 7-step practice to nourish your spirit through nature, art, and ritual. Day focuses on why creative living, beauty making, and impermanence are needed now more than ever. Oh, yay! He created the morning altars for the celebration, for marking time, from new babies, moving home, loss of a loved one, or children leaving home. Day is an author, an artist, a teacher of many workshops around the world, and has created art installations at Google, 9/11 Memorial Plaza, and Andy Warhol Foundation. Day has been featured in NBC, CBS, and multiple other press. 10 years ago, his dear father died, very young, at 62. It was shattering. They had a very close relationship. In addition to that, he broke up with the love of his life. Or they broke up. I don't know if he broke up, but there was a breakup. Okay? And those are two really traumatic things to deal with. And when his father died, his father left him a beautiful gift, a mini schnauzer. Can we hear it from the mini schnauzers? And this beautiful girl, her name was Rudy. She was 9 years old, and she was a beauty. So Day now had the responsibility of taking care of this dog. So in the moment of grieving his father and grieving his partner, every morning the ritual was, I gotta walk my dog. He's gotta do the, number 1 and 2. So he would walk every morning in the beautiful, beautiful area in California that he lives. And the first day that he walked, he started to look and wonder at all the beauty around him. And he picked up leaves and rocks and different things that were in nature. And he created a mandala, a round circle, which he called Morning Altar. And with that concept and leaving it there, it was so much beauty, he ended up doing it every day. And it became a ritual for him to help heal his heart of 2 devastating losses and to be really present with nature. So morning altars, which I'm cheating to go forward, not morning altars, yeah, morning altars, that's morning rituals. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm sorry, like a little disclosure. My husband gave me a really bad cold, so I've been a little bit out of it today, but hold on. Yeah, blame it on Billy. Hold on, just hold your horses. I can get to it. No, my notes. Okay. The 7-step practice, which is morning rituals, was a practice to nourish your spirit through nature, art, and ritual. Of course, I was so obsessed with this because the pictures alone are absolutely breathtaking. Breathtaking. Let me see if I can do this. I'm still learning how to do. I mean, look at these. This is all nature, people. Nature. These are like feathers and bones and rocks and petals and flowers. Oh my God, it's just breathtaking. And this was a book and this was a practice that he began 10 years ago after the loss of his father and his partner to help heal. And how beautiful is that? Yeah. I think it's beautiful. So I have 4 minutes, and I think I'm just going to say quickly that I'm so grateful for this book. This is a book that I'm going to revisit and revisit. When I like a book, I buy the hard copy and I buy the Audible. Do the Audible. Because I like both, and I actually really like to hear the voice of the author, So I'm really hoping if we have time, in a 20-minute interview, that we will have time for Day to read a little. But I'm not 100% sure if we have time. But I'm constantly learning. You know, I feel like I'm in kindergarten. I'm constantly learning. There's so much I have to learn about everything. And rituals are actually a really cool way to look at a moment in your life, a passage in your life that maybe you need to revisit and create a ritual so that you can create more of a healing process and eliminate so much of the dukkha, so much of the pain. And that's kind of how I look at it, because we all go through change, right? And we all go through challenges. Well, this is just a little cliff note of how we can maybe look at those moments in our life and heal our heart just a little bit. You know, losing a tooth. You know, and in the book, which I love, it's not, leaving a job. It's not only about what storytelling, but then you get homework. You get these wonderful steps, when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're all different. You get these wonderful steps of how to approach each moment in life. Now, all of these might not work for you. You might not be losing a tooth, but you might be moving, or you might be going through a divorce, or you might have lost a pet. There's something for everyone here, I'm telling you. And it's a kind of book that you can just pick up and read and then put down and come back to it. And go, oh, let me look at that chapter. I think I might be able to relate to that. Rituals for new beginnings, becoming a mother, becoming a father, rituals for letting go, child leaving home, the packing ritual, rituals for birthday, rituals for death anniversary, rituals for moving from a home, rituals for retirement, rituals for loss, the losing of a friendship. I'm sure that I know. Right, Kelly? We've all lost friends, we've kind of grown out of them, but there's all that torture and yucky stuff that comes in between. Loss of a pet, divorce, death and dying, receiving a diagnosis. I know that well. Puberty, long time ago. But I'm hoping that Jay, if I've got my time right, will come on in a minute or two, and we can talk to him about this incredible book. And then, yay! So, hi Jay, he came on. I need you to, there you are, I love it. Abracadabra, 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 abracadabra. All right. I let you join, but you're not joined. All right, I might need you to come out and come in one more time and request, because I clicked for you to come in, but, it's a computer, it's technology. So, Jay, I need you to, for some reason it didn't work when I clicked you in, so can you come out and then request, and I'll click you back in. Et voila. Et voila. You going live. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. It's unable to join. It says you're unable to join. That's frustrating. If that happens, then we will, yay!
Hi there.
Why do I get so excited when it works? I'm new at this. Hi. Oh,
Nice to meet you.
I'm so honored and so grateful for this. And I did your whole intro. So this is Day, everyone. And I'm going to go right into the questions. And then if we have any time at the end, if you want to read anything, I love your voice. So,
Okay.
question number one. Morning altering. You mentioned in the book, we forget 10,000 times a day. We forget the little and the big. We forget what's really valuable and what matters. Amen to that. But forgetting isn't wrong. Ritual is a kind of choreography for remembering what we've forgotten, seeing it again, what's gone invisible. It does not shame forgetting. It recognizes it as a part of the whole dance. I mean, like, I think I've read that 10 times today and I get so emotional. Like, I love to dance. And so if you look at it as a whole, you don't want to only have the beginning, you want the whole dance. So, can you share with us why honoring forgetting while weaving it through a ritual is so important? Why is ritual and repetition so important? And can you walk us through the morning ritual in your book and explain the value of water in the process? I know that's a long
Well,
question.
hello. Nice to meet you. That's a
Hi.
lot. That's a lot.
That's a big
Yeah.
question. It's like
Yeah. Well,
three.
first and foremost, thank you so much for raising up this little book, this one that I have right here.
Look at all my
Um,
notes.
and it's not something I take for granted that anything that I would write would have any kind of meaning to anyone but me. Hi, Sally. Um, so I just want to say thank you. As an author, it's really, it's constantly an amazing miracle when anything that you spend time writing lands in someone's heart and it helps their heart to open. And that's not something I take for granted. I spent 2 years writing this book, and every day was a ritual to get actually to remember why I was writing the book in the first place. You were mentioning the word forgetting. And so I think it's important to start the conversation that basically says rituals are there to help us remember, period. But, we live in a culture that basically says remembering's wrong. I mean, sorry, forgetting is wrong, right? So
Absolutely.
like all the time, I mean, whenever I forget, I think I did something wrong. And we have technology these days of like computers that remember everything for us. So kind of the bar right now is like we should always be remembering. We should always remember what we have to do today, where we should go, whose birthday it is. And yet forgetting is like part and parcel of just being a human being, right? So for for thousands of years, cultures all over the world have had mechanisms to remember, and we call these rituals. Every ritual has a different purpose to it because you can fill in the blank. Remember what? Fill in the blank, right? But cultures had rituals to help the people as a whole or to help individuals remember what's important. So here's another word I use a lot, and we should talk about this word. Welcome to everyone who's just joining us. We're talking about rituals,
Yeah, welcome.
okay?
Hi, everyone.
And so the other word that we're talking about is the word meaning. Meaning.
Meaning.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm a word nerd. And I love words, and I love the etymology of words. And if you read any books I've written, you know that I believe that words travel through time and places, and they
You really break them
change.
down. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they change as they travel through time and place. So if you look back at the root of the word, you can find out a lot of new information about the word, right? So the word meaning, the etymology of the word actually means a way to remember, a
Oh,
way to remember. So when we
wow.
when we make meaning, we're actually making a path to remember. But here's the thing. If you need a path to remember, it means that most likely you forgot. Right? And so
Yeah.
meaning in a way is ephemeral. It's ephemeral, meaning like the meaning kind of over time things start to to do this with meaning. Like we forget why it's meaningful in the first place, you know? And a lot of us have rituals that like we do in my culture, in my tradition, I'm Jewish. We have a lot of rituals. Some of the time we're like, why am I even doing this? This doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
it's meaningful. And so the meaning over time starts to fray like fabric. And so we have to remake it meaningful. We have to repurpose the meaning to it. And so ritual, a lot of ritual is repetitive, meaning that you have to do it over and over and over again. And you do it because you have to keep making it meaningful. You have to keep remembering over and over again, because why? We forget. Yeah. So that's,
And
I mean,
the repetition.
in a very small Instagram
Yeah.
live way, that's a very, you know, that's hundreds of pages of a book in a very short teaching.
In a paragraph. But the water in the morning ritual I found fascinating, and a lot of it has to do with the Jewish tradition too.
Yeah. So here's the question. What do you need to remember in the morning? So for me, there have been many times over the
That's a
past
good
years
question.
where I wake up feeling anxious. Many times. I open my eyes, and sometimes I'm immediately on my to-do list. I'm immediately in a place of, you know, I forgot to do this, or I need to do that, or I have anxiety sometimes in the morning. And I hope I'm not alone in that. I'm sure I'm not alone in that,
No, 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 no. No, you're not.
right? And so, what do you need to remember when you have anxiety? For
That you're
me,
okay.
yeah, that you're okay. What else? That you're
Um,
connected,
that you're connected, that you're
right?
loved, you know,
Yeah,
that you're of worth, that
yeah,
you have a purpose, that you have a why.
yeah. And so I created a ritual in the book called it was a water ritual. The ritual itself is called the renewal ritual. And the renewal ritual involves water because it's the source of our life. And when we have fear or anxiety, we forget that we're connected to the source.
Mm,
We're kind of like out there, right?
mm.
And so we have to connect back into the source. And literally, you know, a lot of people talk about the source like it's some concept, but I'm literally talking about water. It's the source. You need it. You are it. It's life. Water is life. So by connecting to source. And so in the ritual itself, if you get the book, I walk you through 4 ways to connect to water. Physically. You put here. One of them you wash your hands. You
Yeah,
can't hear
you
me?
were cutting out. I didn't
Okay.
hear you for a minute, but yeah.
Okay. One of them you use
Wash
your
your hands. I
hands.
remember that one.
One
Yeah.
of them you put on your eyes. One of them you put on your feet. One of them you put on your mouth. And the water questions are there to help connect you back to the source. So for me, the hand question, as you feel it on your hands, as you wash your hands, ask yourself, what am I not, sorry, my hands, what am I holding that the water can cleanse? What
Wow.
am I holding that the water can cleanse? When I put some on my eyes, I ask, what am I not seeing the water can remind me to look towards? What am I not? Because when I'm with anxiety, I'm seeing craziness.
Yeah, yeah. Too many. Yeah, too many things.
When I put it on my feet, I put some on my feet, I ask myself, where haven't I gone? The water is reminding me to go. Where haven't I gone that the water is reminding me to go? And then finally, a little on my mouth, and I ask myself, what haven't I said that the water is reminding me to say? And so, right in this little ritual, it takes me 5 minutes to do. All it does is it helps me to connect to something much bigger than me, which is water, right? It helps me ask important questions that are meaningful, and it helps me remember what's important. So I can start my day remembering what's important instead of starting my day feeling anxious and crazy. And these little rituals are ways to remember.
I mean, it's such a beautiful process when you look at how you want to start your day. If you start with that intention, think of how profound your day will be. You know, you're beginning with that, beginning with a connection.
Yeah.
Um, it's really, really
Listen,
beautiful.
honestly, I'm not always looking for profundity, right? Like sometimes all I'm looking for is a little bit of feeling like myself again,
Yeah,
right?
feeling okay.
Yeah, feeling okay. And like, we all use water in the morning. We shower, we brush our teeth, like we're using it to like refresh the body, but we're using it in a very totalitarian way. So what if you can cleanse your soul? What if you can cleanse your heart? And you're not just cleaning the gunk off your body, you're cleaning the gunk off your mind. And so that you can remember what's important. So these are little rituals that help us do that in times of and the thing that we should be talking about is times of transition. So times of
Right,
transitions are moments, either small
right.
transitions or big
Transition.
transitions, where things change. Like we woke up in the morning, that's a change. And it's
Yeah,
very and even though we do it every morning, for some of us it can be quite disorienting, right?
it can.
And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
so
overwhelming. You know, if you have children and whatever, you're running around in the morning. It can be chaotic.
we need these mechanisms to help us feel oriented. And that's what a ritual is. It's orientation towards what's important.
Beautiful. Well, that was a great answer to my very long-winded question. The next one's much shorter. So, full disclosure, I could not read. We're talking about the loss of a pet. I could not read the chapter on this until this morning. We lost our beloved Chico, a mini schnauzer, to liver cancer 2 months ago. I read it today. I love the line that you say your pets are your home, because for us it really is true. As well as the ritual has the capacity to hold the pain and the loss at the same time. The wholeness of their life includes their death. In the book, you provide rituals for when your pet gets ill, but also for the rituals for after they have died, which is something I would do because it was too hard while he was going through that. Can you talk to us about the ritual after loss and the cutting of the collar?
Sure. Yeah, I just want to say I'm so sorry. And I had a miniature schnauzer myself 4
Rudy,
years ago. Yeah, Rudy. So I can relate. And, you know, we live in a culture where we're not good with loss. That's just the fact of it.
amen to
And
that.
and we don't know how to hold each other with that. We don't all Most of us don't know how to grieve well. And so we're just trying to get through it. But really these are moments for beauty. They're moments for meaning and moments for beauty. Here's something I want to say for those of you that are listening. Transitions are there, contrary to popular belief, transitions are there for you to slow down at. They're not there for you to race through. They're there for you to slow down and even stop because they're trying to tell you something. So when your dog dies or your cat dies or a pet dies, it's basically saying, stop. This is a big deal. And you need to remember in this moment. And you need to make beauty with your grief. And so with regard to the ritual, when my dog died, life just wanted to carry on like it was normal. And it's really hard to stop in this society. It's very, very hard, right? And so there's a few rituals in the losing a pet part of the book that I speak to about really like slowing down. But the one you're naming is called the cutting the cord ritual. And this came from a moment, I think like a day or two after my dog died, where her leash and collar were just sitting by the front door. And these were objects that we used every day for 16 years. They were very, they were like, we used them in the
Yeah.
morning, we used them at night. Like
Yeah.
they're an
I
important
know.
part of the routine. And and suddenly this leash and collar had absolutely no purpose. Like it just was like, could have been garbage. So I decided instead of throwing out her leash, I decided to make it into a ritual so that I could remember her because she wasn't there anymore. She was in the ground. And so I took I took the leash that clips onto the collar, and I took a moment and I made it into a sacred moment. And you can make anything into a sacred moment. You just have to make it so. That's the thing about
Mhm.
meaning. We make meaning as humans. Think of it. I just want you to remember that, everyone listening. Meaning is made. I'm an artist, so I'm telling you, this is the work of being a creative. You make meaning. You can't think meaning. You can't assume meaning. It's made.
You
And
make
so I took the leash and I made the leash into something meaningful. And all I did was I cut it and I wore it. And in my tradition as a Jew, we tear our clothes when there's death, and it's called renting our garments. And I wore her leash over my heart. I did it for, I mean, you could do it for a week or a month. I did it for a year. And it became,
I can't hear you.
can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it became not only a way for me to look at my own heart and see her, it
In
became
there.
it became a conversation piece. So people would come up to me and say, "What is that?" And it became another opportunity for me to remember her.
Remembering. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
And there was beauty in that because you were able to tell a story about her or mention her name and keeping those memories alive instead of forgetting them because it was too much pain.
exactly.
It's so beautiful. It really is. Um, so I did more homework because I did not know about your incredible book and the work around morning altars is where you began. So morning altar, for people who are on here and don't know, is a 7-step practice to nourishing your spirit through nature, art, and ritual. And the book is breathtaking. I mean,
No, thank you.
it is so breathtaking. So,
And all of those are leaves and berries and flowers. That's all that is.
so can you share with us about the practice and also how this concrete jungle New Yorker can make a morning altar in my backyard, which is Central Park?
Sure. So, I mean, I'm gonna try and whittle down a book. I wrote a whole book about this. So I'm gonna whittle
Yeah,
it down to
I'm
a
not very
sentence or
fair with
two.
the question.
So,
I know.
so basically, my father died about 12 years ago, and I was really heartbroken and didn't know how to really wrestle with my grief. And all I could do was sit outside with my dog and go on walks with my dog and sit outside. And so one morning we went to a hill and I saw just material under a tree, and I just sat down and started to arrange it. And it became a practice that helped me to really turn my grief into beauty, is really where it came from. And then it became more than just my grief. It became an opportunity for me to mark the big and the small moments of my life and my friends and my families. And then it became even bigger than that, where folks all over the world, and I'm noticing people in the chat right now are saying that they made it, they've made them.
Oh, yay.
So, where folks all over the world are learning this as a practice, as a way
I did it on
to
the beach at Rockaway. Yeah.
mark the moments of their lives. And I now teach this as an international school, as a training. I teach um, art therapists and social workers and kindergarten teachers and clergy, and I'm teaching people how to bring this back to their communities, because it's another way of ritualizing their lives and making beauty with their lives. Um, and so, what was your last part of your question?
How can a New
Oh,
York City concrete jungle? I mean, my backyard in Central Park. I'm not. You don't bring anything. You wander and you take what you find. It's not like you bring things from home, right?
no, right.
Okay.
And so the practice is very much about wonder. Practice is based in wonder, and it's about seeing the world with new eyes, and it's about seeing your life with new eyes, and it's about really the wonder of impermanence, because everything that I've ever made doesn't last. And so really, it's a 7-step practice. There's a lot of writing about it, and videos that I've made, which you can read in the book. But really, especially because you're living in New York. By the way, I lived in Times Square for 10 years. I'm born and
Oh,
raised in New York. Um,
wow.
yeah, and so you'd be surprised how much, especially just walking down the street, there's so much treasure hidden around you, and you just have to look, and you just have to find it, and it's there. And so I'd say part of the practice is like, can you walk down the street with new eyes, seeing the place differently? And you'll be surprised what you found. I once, by the way, quick story. I once taught a workshop in near Wall Street in Manhattan, and we had about 40 people for the workshop in a community garden. And I sent them out to go find material to make for their altar, and everyone said, absolutely, we're totally not gonna find anything here.
Jaded New Yorker.
And I said, cool, great. I know that you're convinced that you're not going to find anything, but what if there were things you haven't seen that you could see? And so I sent them off, and they came back about an hour later, and one guy was carrying a huge mushroom that was growing out of a street tree. Another person came back with like 30 pigeon feathers. I mean, people were really
Wow.
like in
They got into
awe
it.
of of what they found, and they were practicing what we call radical amazement, radical awe, being able to see the world again. And so all of this is very connected, like wonder and ritual and remembering. They're all very, very connected. And there's a lot more to say. I could talk about this for days, but I wrote about them. So I would say if you're curious about
Well,
any of these
everyone, if you're on
topics,
here, yeah, if you're on here and you haven't bought the book, buy the book and buy this book. I mean, this one it arrived today, so I haven't read it yet. But I just, yeah, well, I mean, I was like, yeah, like I said, I was doing my homework and like literally blown away. So I like a challenge. So hold on, New York,
New
New
York.
York in the house. I usually take on too much, so I'm gonna do one ritual a month. Is that okay?
Good.
One
Perfect.
morning altar a month, just to begin with.
Sounds good.
And then, take it from there. But I'm in the park all the time. It's kind of my backyard. So,
Well, post it and
um,
tag me, and I'd love to see what you make.
oh, I will. Are you kidding? And then I told my sister who lived in Connecticut, and she's like, "Oh my God, I want to do that." She's like out in nature. She's a nature girl. So trust me, I did do, a post on Instagram with some of my favorite pictures. And so I'm going to be talking a lot about
Good.
it. A lot. So we have like 4 minutes left. I don't know if you want to read anything or say anything else.
Sure. I'll end with a little reading, for
Okay.
those of you that want.
And again, I'm so grateful for your time. I really
Of
am.
course. Yeah. Okay. Every hello is a goodbye, and every goodbye a hello. Births and deaths, departures and arrivals, endings and beginnings. There cannot be one without the other. We wave our hands to welcome, and we wave them the exact same way to bid farewell. Even though at times we may believe that life only moves in one direction, if we can step back and broaden our gaze, we can see that these hello goodbye moments hinge on a door that swings back and forth. This is a book about rituals. Rituals place us right at that door's threshold, and their purpose is to help us acknowledge that something happened, something has changed. We are no longer the person we were. We no longer have the relationship we did. We no longer call this place home. Our child is not the same. Our body is not the same. This time is not the same. Rituals mark distinction.
You found one out.
Sorry, my alarm keeps.
Oh,
Sorry, my alarm
yeah.
keeps
So
going off.
ritual mark the.
Rituals mark distinctions, helping us recognize what was and what is, so that we can wonder how it came to be. How did my child become a teenager? How did I just survive cancer? How did I get to be 50 years old already? To wonder like this takes real courage and a deeper vulnerability, because to see change is to be changed. I'll stop there.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I will be sending you pictures of my morning altar
That sounds good. Good to
and
connect with
telling
you.
everyone to buy the book.
Good. Thank you.
Big love. And let me know when
Big
you're in New
love.
York.
I will do for sure. Goodbye,
Uh,
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Day. Oh, wow. Wow. So good, right? No, honey, I'm not done. Not done. That was amazing, right, Jody? Amazing. So if you didn't catch it, I will be posting this. I just talked today about his incredible book, Hello, Goodbye, that he wrote during the pandemic. And I also talked to him about his other book, his original book, called Morning Altars. And now, you know me, I love, he's so funny, Jaja. I love a ritual. I love a ritual. I love a challenge. So now this girl is going to be making a morning altar in New York. Watch me. Anyway, I mean, he said many things, which I will listen on the replay. But one thing that he said that really, the word meaning came up, connection and meaning. He talked about when you wake up in the morning, and he was talking about when he woke up in the morning and then he felt anxious. And that he didn't want to feel anxious. None of us want to, because you feel like crap when you're anxious. So what is it that he needed? And he asked me, like, what do you need? And I said, a little out of it. I have a cold. Thank you, Billy. But I said, you need calm. You need to know that you're okay. And you need to know that you're loved. And you need to find your grounding, whatever that means to you. But he said you need connection. Because when you have anxiety, it's actually like, I'm all alone and like, fuck, I'm all alone and like nothing, I'm alone. When you have anxiety, very much I'm alone. And so yet, if you reconnect to that concept of connection, well, I know for me, if I'm ever have anxiety, just connecting with one person on the phone or in person, just to connect, you kind of snap out of it. You have a share moment. You're like, I'm not alone. Like, I've got people that love me. I've got people that care about me. And then it brings you back to, oh, I have connection. And then hopefully the anxiety subsides. But what Dave was talking about is the morning ritual is really about finding that connection. And so he does a ritual in the morning that connects him with water. And you have to read the book, people. Buy the book if you haven't bought it yet. But there is a whole ritual about the value of water. Washing your hands, washing your eyes, washing your feet, washing your teeth. There is a real meaning through the Jewish tradition that he explained to me. And I'm not going to do that because I don't have much time here. But that is a 5-minute ritual that he does and hi everyone, that he does every morning, 5 minutes. And it connects him to what he needs to be connected with. And then he proceeds with the day. I mean, I don't know how you all wake up. I don't know what your morning rituals are. I think it's so important that we have morning rituals because they really dictate the rest of our day. At least they do for me. I have a quiet time before my husband wakes up. And, it includes many things, but one of it includes dancing. I love to dance. And once I've meditated or wrote in my journal or whatever I had to do, I make sure before he wakes up that I dance and I move my body in the most freeing way, unapologetically move my body as if I was on stage and I just was loving it. And that's one of the routines of how I start my day. He also talked about you make meaning. You make meaning. Meaning isn't given to you. It's not like, here's your meaning for the day. No, you make meaning. You create meaning. And so the morning altar is actually kind of a pathway. Let me read this. Makes me think about how much water is a part of where people vacation or to go to relax. The waves, the joy, the way water can make troubles wash away. Water is very powerful and restorative. Absolutely, Jody. I mean, I know my husband is from Brazil. Water is very important to him. And I know for me, when I need calm, I need to look at the water or be in the water. And it just transfers me right away. But you make meaning. So I like that. Meaning's a very important word and when I replay it, I'm going to look into that part of the beginning of the interview where he talks about the value of meaning. But, I'm honored. Day is like, he's globally known. He teaches workshops around the world. He's written 2 books. He's been on CBS and NBC and multiple press platforms. He's done, he's the real deal. And I'm just a little peon. I mean, I'm not a peon, but, yeah, he's like, he's an author, an artist, a teacher of many workshops around the world. He's created art installations for Google. I died. 9/11 Memorial Plaza, Andy Warhol Foundation. He's the real deal. And yet, you know what I love about this moment? Here's what I love. My father died 2 years ago, and it was really hard for me. And I really wanted to dive into books and authors and, that could kind of help me navigate through grief, really. And Elena Brower, who I love, is a friend and a teacher, recommended this book. And anything she recommends, I'm like, I'm on Amazon right away. And as you can tell, I love the book. I mean, it's 75 rituals, if you're coming on late, for time and loss, celebrations, and change. Tell me, can any of you relate to this? The birth of a child, the moving to a new home, divorce, empty nesting, birthdays, retirement, death anniversary, receiving a diagnosis, and coming out of the closet. I'm sure one of those you can relate to. And so within this practice of rituals is really honoring, remembering, and that forgetting is not a word of shame anymore, people. I know I used to always say to my husband, honey, you forgot your keys, honey, you forgot your wallet, honey. Such a nag I am. But Forgetting is not a word of shame. You heard it here, and you heard it from this author, this wonderful author, Day. Forgetting is not a word of shame. It allows you to remember the moment or activity that you forgot so that you can revisit it and you can heal your heart if you're grieving, or you can just relive a moment. This is all about healing. And the more you live through life, I don't know about you, but I don't think there's never too much healing in my book. So as I end that, I said forgetting is not a bad word. I start with an opening song, which was Hello Goodbye by the Beatles, and I end with a closing song, and you can dance if you want to, but you don't have to. But it's a little forget-me-not. Forget-me-not. You don't want me to sing. So thank you for coming. This is a phenomenal interview. And I'm so grateful today for all of his time, his wisdom, and knowledge. And I'm out. Bye, people.